Luvuvamu! Luvuvamu! Bana Nzambi!
Ingeta.
Bana Nzambi!
Ingeta.
Nusiemi family, good to see you all here. Thank you for being here and joining us all. May you feel Tatanzambi's presence today, as we always do. Before we begin, I'm going to ask Brother Chusamba if he would lead us off in prayer.
Yes. Luvuvamu!
Yalla.
Bana Nzambi!
Yalla.
So let us pray, family. If you are in condition to kneel down, we would appreciate. If not, it's fine as well. So let's pray. Natondo Masaka, Zambia Mpungu Tulendo. We humble ourselves before you at this moment that you brought us all together in this wonderful Zoom session once again. Before we address ourselves to you, we pray that you may forgive us, Lord, from everything that doesn't please you. We pray that you may send your Muanda Vedela to empower our elder Patrick, who will be our guest speaker of today. Let the Muanda Vedela move him in power, knowledge, and wisdom, and all of us to flow in the same spirit, Father. Unankumbwa se Muanda Vedela, we pray and we believe. Ingeta.
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 Ingeta. Ingeta.
So thank you, family. We're going to look forward to a wonderful session with Elder Patrick today. And before we get started, let's just remind you that we'd like you to have all your mics on mute if you're not speaking. Hold all your questions to the end, and we will proceed.
Can you all hear me? I am sharing my screen now.
Ingeta. Yes, we can hear you. And we can see the screen.
Okay. Thank you.
We can see.
All right. Over to you, Brother Patrick.
Yes.
Luvuvamu, everybody.
Yalla.
Back on the continent, Luvuvamu.
Yalla.
In the northern hemisphere, Luvuvamu.
Yalla.
Matondo Masaka, everybody. Thank you so much. Let's give praise to Zambia Mpungu for having Brother Benika and Brother Tusamba, Sister Speshi, as well as Mama Matizola, for holding it down for us and feeding us every Sunday. I think they deserved a break. And we are now thankful for everything that they have done in the past. We just need to give them a short break so we can bring this information to you. So glad you could join us, family. This has been necessitated by one of our own Isolele family who felt this message needed to be given out to the rest of Isolele. And I'm very thankful that the Mwanda spoke through that person to have me share this message to you all. So Matondo Masaka, and for humbling me to be here, to be able to talk to you as well. Now, it is me as an Elder Patrick, but the message that will be coming through to you will be through the Mwanda. I'm just being used as a vessel to put this message across to you all. So Matondo Masaka. Now, we have to understand certain aspects that are written for us. whenever we have to understand a subject matter, we have to go back to go forward. We have to go back and understand before we can go forward. There are certain aspects that we are missing here, and for that reason, we are going to be coming today to analyze what Tata Nzambi's original message was when he initially created a man. So today in this topic, we will look at the definition of a man, and we will look at certain attributes that are defining as a man. We will look at the common complaints that men have and the processes of change, as well as the man himself. We will briefly touch on marriage in terms of Western marriage as well as Bantu marriage. And then we will also look at one of the main concerns that man has. Now, I understand that I didn't know that it would fall on Mother's Day. And for that reason, our women, please understand that I will use women in comparison to the man only because of trying to put a point across, not because I'm trying to undermine women, but this is about a man, and this is why the definition will be a man. So before we go any further, just real quick, Brother Kennedy, in one sentence, what is a man?
In one sentence, a man, in a simple language, is the head of the family.
That's correct. And what about Mama Shirley? What is a man?
A man is supposed to be patterned after our Heavenly Father, Tata Nzambi.
All right. Can we have somebody there? Mama Matizola is here. Who's able to read? Mr. Michelle, are you able to read? Brother Mimi.
I'm sorry, you want someone to read? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, let me help you out. I think Mama Matazola might have a little noise in her background.
Something is going off.
I can read.
Brother Kennedy, please proceed.
What's a man? When it comes to human beings, we are generally divided into two aspects. Spiritually, man means mankind. That usually covers male and female. Spiritually, a man mirrors the Creator, Nzambi. For that reason, man cannot be man without truly having a personal relationship with Nzambi. And it is in that relationship that man is able to see who and what man is supposed to look like. Genesis 1:27.
Thank you. If you can have somebody open up Genesis, let me break that down for you real quick. Now, we understand that man mirrors Nzambi. When Nzambi created the fish in the sea, Nzambi created an image of him in man. Now, let me ask you this. If you take the fish out of the water, what happens?
It ceases to live.
If you take Nzambi out of a man, what happens?
No longer alive.
He will be a dead soul walking. Therefore, as he mirrors Nzambi, a man has to have a personal relationship with Nzambi. If a man does not have a personal relationship with Nzambi, he is a dead soul walking. Okay, proceed, Brother Kennedy.
Yeah, Genesis 1:27. I read it.
Yes, sir.
So God created man in his own image. In the image of the Most High, Tatanzambi created he him. Male and female created he them.
Thank you. And that clearly specifies the reason why man is identified in two aspects. That's the spiritual aspect of a man, is that his imagery is that of Nzambi. And for that reason, they can never be separated from Nzambi, because that is Nzambi in his own image. And that relationship is as defined in that aspect. Now, we also attribute that to the physicality of man. Brother Kennedy?
Physically, that's where gender issues come into question. A male man is well defined from a female. This goes further into mental, emotional capacity.
Thank you. So whenever we talk about a man, there are two aspects that we're talking about. There's a spiritual aspect as well as the physicality aspect. Now, when we're talking about the physical aspect, this is where his mental capacity, as well as his emotion, as well as all other attributes that are physical come into play, that you can be able to differentiate between a mankind in terms of a woman and a man. So those attributes come into question, and that's why now you are seeing this gender issue, which is coming up, where somebody's saying, I want to be a man, therefore I have to change certain physical aspect for me to fit in as a man. All right, see, Brother Kennedy?
Men are generally work-oriented, and women are family/emotional-oriented. The first thing that Nzambi gave Adam was his work. Genesis 2:15.
If somebody can get 2:15 ready, while
Genesis 2:15, it says, And Nzambi took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and keep it.
Okay, now let me explain there real quick. A man needs two wives. A man needs two wives. His first wife is land. Now, I will try and break this on the Western context and as well as on the continent, where Bantu traditions as well as Western context, in two aspects. His first wife is land. The land that Nzambi gave him, that's his first love. On the Western hemisphere, his first love is his work. That's what Nzambi gave him. Now, when we go back on the continent, where we say his first love was his land, his second wife can never be taken care of if that man does not have his first wife. A man without the land will not be able to take care of his spouse. A man without work will never be able to take care of his spouse. That's why we reference it as his first wife and then his second wife. That's what Nzambi gave him, was the land and take care of the land. Genesis 1:27, that's what it says. Proceed, Brother Kennedy.
And for that reason, man's first love is his work. Man gets his identity fulfillment from his work. That is the first thing he fell in love with. The first works that Nzambi gave to women was a marriage/a man. Women are thus generally relationship-minded. Genesis 2:18, Genesis 2:18, and Genesis 21-24.
Please read those for us.
And the Lord and Tatanzambi said, "It's not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a help meant for him." 21-24. And Zambi caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Zambi had taken from man made a woman, and brought her unto the man. 23. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and she shall cleave unto his wife. They shall be one flesh.
Thank you, Brother Kennedy. Thank you. Okay, now you understand the way that woman, man, and mankind are separated in those attributes. The reason woman was created was there to partner Adam. That was the reason that she was created. And for that reason, women are always good with emotional and family-oriented attributes. They have a womb. They care. They care for the young ones. That is the care that they gave them. This differentiates a man based on the fact that a man's first love was work. It was not emotionally attached to him, but he did not show any emotions pertaining to the creation of a woman. The difference in the two are definitely separates the same. These attributes are what contributed to the struggle of man. If you can raise it up a little bit, these are the attributes that actually controlled and were very difficult for them to integrate these social norms. Now, since Zambi said, okay, I have created you, man, and man, your first love is work. Man was by himself. So now that a woman was created for him, he was going to have struggles in his work. He has to till the land. On the Western Hemisphere, he has to go to work and then take care of family at the same time. In the Bantu tradition, he has to go to the farm, but at the same time, the commitments of being with a woman was stretching because he has to take care of the land as well as involve his wife in the land. Those were struggles that were given to him. Proceed, Brother Kenneth.
The above attributes are what contributed to the struggles of mankind. Because Nzambi told man that from now on, man will have struggles in the tilling of the land, his work. Genesis 3:19. Woman was also told, Genesis 3:19, in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it was thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return.
Proceed.
20, Woman was also told that their struggles will stem from difficulties with relationship and childbearing. Women's desires will be towards their husbands, and that they will take advantage of that everything family-oriented. Genesis 3:17.
While he's pulling up 3:17, the difficulties that were given to women were basic. That you will have, woman is emotionally an emotional creation. They are basically emotional creation. The first thing that Eve saw was Adam. The first thing that Adam saw was his work. Therefore, their work ethics are in different aspects. For that reason, women will struggle because the only thing they saw was Adam. And they believed in forming a union and forming a family together. And for that reason, those struggles were different. The man's struggle was that he was in love with his work. Women's struggle would be that it would be emotionally based because of the way she was also wired in the sense of child caring as well as emotional feelings that will be attributed to that. Genesis 3:17.
Genesis 3:17, unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life.
And for that reason, that is the curse that befell women because of that has carried on from generation to generation. And what we are simply doing here is taking you back to really define exactly what a man really is. Now, we can't go any further without looking at the misunderstanding in this present day situation as to why a lot of people fail to misconstrue what a man is. Now, don't get me wrong. There are many, many books out there. What is a woman worth? 100 ways to love a woman. 100 ways to know this. But never has there been any definition of a man other than the scriptures as based on Genesis. That's why we had to take you back. So generally, women tend to have problems in how they can proceed in accommodating a man in their lives. Now, understand, I'm using woman as a general debate, not as a definition of woman, so that people can understand the two intricate components. Now, I can have a different reader now. The misunderstanding of man by a woman. Do I have somebody out there?
You can get that. I can if you'd like, Elder.
Please proceed.
Misunderstanding of man by woman. Generally, women fail to understand a man as they wanted to love, according to Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. A man as if a man was a woman. Would you like me to grab that piece of scripture currently?
Yes,
Elder?
and I will expand on that while you're grabbing the scripture.
Yes, sir.
Here's a good one here for you. Women fail to understand to love a man as if a man was a woman. Now, if you have a couple and a couple is going into a therapy session, and the woman asks, how do you show your husband love? Well, I show him love by sending him emojis, sending him love messages, send him everything that I do. I call him at work, I send him some flowers and everything else. But that's how you want to be loved. That's how you want to be loved, not him. You want to be loved like that. So we generally have a consensus where women just want to love somebody based on how they want to receive love, not how the man wants to give you love. And that's a misconception by a lot of women in that aspect. You got Corinthians put up, Brother Mimi?
You can get that, Elder. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 8. It reads, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wrong. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Yalla.
You have it right there. If you have to love someone, you don't have to love them. You don't have to receive the love. the way they want it. Give them the opportunity how man will express his love to you. You don't have to force him to make him love you the way you want to be loved. He may not be as romantic as he can be, but what he will show you probably through his deeds, he will show you in other ways. Because you are emotional creatures, he will not be as emotional as you, but you will see him in the actions that he does, that he's actually transmitting this through an act of love. Please proceed, Brother Mimi.
Elder. As human beings, we give love the way we perceive it to be love. When someone wants to show you love, they give love the way they like to receive love, when in fact, not knowing how man wants to receive love. It is for that reason that one has to go back to the origins of the creation of man to fully understand what a man really is. Kind of like a manual.
Thank you. Right. Let me jump in right there. Now, what we mean by a manual is every time you buy something new, you buy a laptop, you buy a TV screen, you have to go back to the book to see exactly how you put that together. So in this case, the only manual that you have is the manual that is in the scriptures. We are going back to how that man was originally created. And that manual is to fully understand, not under, but understand exactly what Nzambi was thinking when he was creating a man. So proceed, Brother Mimi.
Elder. Forgive me. Understand, not understand.
Yes.
To understand man, women need to understand the difference in attributes, and that the things that women tend to appreciate in life, a man is rarely phased at all.
Correct. Let me jump in right quick right there. So women have this tendency to go about and say, I do so much for him. I've done this much, I keep doing this, and I keep doing this, because he is not phased at all by the things you are doing, because of the way he is wired, the way he was created. And you are beating yourself. I do so much for him. I do so much for him, and I do this and I do that, and that he's not reciprocating, because the way Nzambi created him is not the way that he will be able to at least adapt and understand. They have faults that they have, but to a certain point, when you understand that aspect, that he is not wired in that line, you will be able to adjust and actually fully appreciate that. So yes, there are complaints that come about man, Brother Mimi.
Matondo, Elder Mutavi. Common complaints about man. When one tries to compete with man's first love, one cannot win. Don't compete.
Hold it right there. Luvuva, did you
Yalla.
understand? Please read that one more time so the family can understand this.
When one tries to compete with man's first love, one cannot win.
And the reason why is his first love is his work. Remember what I told you. His wife, his first wife, is the land that was given to him by Nzambi. So for you to take away that land out of him, you will not compete. Let me give you an example. How can I draw attention to my spouse, my husband, or my friend from his works? He's always busy at work. And normally it comes a point where women tend to say, if you are so much into your work, then you might as well stay with your work. You either choose me or you choose your work. 9 times out of 10, he will choose his work. 9 times out of 10, he will choose his work. He will run, because that's his first love. That's what Nzambi gave him. Man ties freedom to his work, money. That's where he will go. Proceed, Brother Mimi.
Didn't get that. Don't compete with his work, but rather complement his work. Get interested in what a man is doing. Be a part of it. Read, study about it. Become the go-to person for his ideas.
Correct. Now, Luvuvamo.
Yalla!
You compliment his work. Oh, you're doing so well here, and understand his works, the works that he's doing, so that you are able to understand him better. You're not supposed to compete with his work, but now he will see you as an ally, as a person that he can come to for ideas. And you have to understand, men are slow in thinking, which you will realize as we go down the line. Brother Mimi?
Didn't get that, Elder. Men are project driven. The moment a woman says, yes, I do, man sees that as a completion of a project and onto another project. So, one would be wise to find out what his next project is. Women, on the other hand, see I do as the beginning of the project.
Lovuvamo.
Yalla.
Okay, here you have it right here. A man is always project driven. Once he asks, I do, he sees it as a completion of a project. He's moving on to the next project. Now, let me ask you, after the I do, what would be their project after the I do? Anybody?
Getting a house and starting a family.
That's the next project. That's the next project. But a woman sees I do as I am getting older. Now we can spend more time together and we will be able to do the things that he has already moved on to another project. Men are project driven. And that's why you have to get up on it to find out what his next project is. And how you accommodate yourself is you actually tell yourself and say, oh, well, we need to expand this land a little bit more. We need to make sure we have sufficient food to feed the family that we're about to bring in. That's how you get involved in the project, because he's moving into a different project. So for you to say, oh, I do, and that is it. I have my man and I will keep him in the house. You have to understand the project that you do. Proverbs?
Didn't get that, Elder. Proverbs 14 verse 1 reads, the wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands, the foolish one tears hers down.
I can't even add words to that. If you can't understand that, I can't add any words to that. Process of change, brother man.
Didn't get that, Elder. The process of man's first love can be changed. However, it matters more on how that can be changed. A man should not associate you with stress.
Lovuvamo.
Yalla.
Yalla.
Read that last sentence one more time.
A man should not associate you with stress.
Already he has his first wife, the land, the work. It gives him stress. The moment he sees you as stress, he will run. The moment he sees you as another stress on top of the first stress, he will run. When you are talking about work and you are telling him you work too much and this, and then he's coming home where he's supposed to find peace and tranquility, and then that turns into another stress, he will run. Men like to go where they're praised, where they are appreciated and they are accepted. Bragging rights, they need bragging rights. And if they can't find it in the house, they will go where somebody gives them those bragging rights. Proceed, brother.
Once a man gets that impression, remember, he will run. Man seeks freedom. Man will perceive that stress that you give him as another work and that's not how you should go about changing him. Man don't like to be confronted, but instead come by the side. Only then will man not see you as a threat, but as a partner.
Luvuvamo.
Yalla!
Yalla.
Now understand, even in the animal kingdom, lions can never face each other face to face. Dogs, when they're about to fight, they go to the side before they fight. You can never approach a man face to face. Men are warriors. They are ill-equipped to deal with what women bring before them. Remember, they are not emotional to a certain level. And for that reason, whenever women are always having a disagreement or confrontation, you never approach a man face to face. So they did a study. Now, I've forgotten the name of the study, but they did a study. And they had, they threw a bunch of chairs in rooms, and they had women arrange the chairs, and then they had men arrange the chairs. And what happened here is women arranged the chairs secularly, facing each other. Men, on the other hand, made the chairs face one direction. That's why today you have chairs in church facing one direction, in the bar facing one direction, because men don't like facing each other. They have this warrior thing in them. So whenever you have an issue that you have to understand, man, that you don't go, women love to talk because that's where they get their most of their conversations across, because they believe in that. But what they have also done is that they did studies to indicate how a man heart rate goes up when he's listening to a frontal conversation. His heart rate goes way up. The woman's heart rate was constant. And so therefore, sometimes women don't understand that when a man has to leave a heated confrontation, it's because he is ill-equipped to deal with it. He has to get out and leave and then come back when he's cooled down. It's because of his heart rate. His heart rate is already boiling over. And that's why he tends to leave. Women want to hash it out right there and find a solution, but a man can't. He is not wired that way. And for that reason, when you confront a man in such a situation, he's sitting or he's standing by the side, come on his side. Talk to him from the side. He will see you as a partner. He will see you as an ally and will be able to talk to you from that end. Because if you come into he's a warrior. Not that I'm advocating physical abuse. It's not physical abuse, but I'm trying to let you know that it is not a feasible solution to approach a man face to face, but rather come to the side. And then you approach him from that angle. He will be able to talk to you in a very amicable way, as a partner, as an ally. Okay, let's have another reader, the man. Anybody out there? I know there are a lot of them.
I'll read.
Okay, please proceed.
A man generally talks for information, and women talk for affection. Man talk, he has something important to say. Women talk because they have something important to talk to, someone important to talk to. Because I need to line up a bit.
Correct.
When women is sad, emotional, they need to talk. Hence there is a strong connection between her words and sorry, I'm on my phone, and their husbands, but between self and oh no, I've missed the line. Words, between her words and her emotional. Women just need to master their emotions. 90% of women's issues in marriage is not their husband, but between self and emotions.
Luvuvamu.
Yalla.
I just broke it down for you right there.
Please do.
When men talk, they talk for information. They're trying to seek information. And this, I need to know this. I need to know the family. I need to know this and this and this. Women, on the other hand, talk for affection. I have someone now that I can talk to. Somebody that I can talk to. A man is done gathering his information. He's done.
Mm-hmm.
Women are talking for affection. So when men, we have something important to say, that's all we're saying. Women, it's because they have that emotional aspect. They have someone now that they can talk to about those emotions to them.
Mm-hmm.
And 90% of women's issues in a marriage is never their husband. It's a battle between them and their emotions. Can you grapple that? It's them and their emotion on the inside because they're fighting those emotions. That's what Nzambi gave them. Remember what I told you, the struggles. Man's problems will be on the work side. Women are emotional. And the struggles is between inside, between them, self, and their emotions inside them, not their husband. The husband can be contributed. Now, I understand this is varying on 7 levels. But in most marriages, the problem has always been 90% on the side of women has been their emotions. Please proceed, Michelle.
Okay. Right. When a man and a woman have a disagreement, the woman loses. The woman will not secure security, but instead the average man will seek freedom, which he gets. And a man ties his freedom to money.
Luvuvamu.
Yalla.
When a man and woman have disagreements and the man walks out and leaves, he ties that to freedom. The woman loses. Because a man is always seeking freedom. Always seeking freedom. And the woman is seeking for marriage and security. That is gone. He will not give you freedom. He will not give you the security. He will give himself the freedom. Men are selfish in nature. It is their creation. Please proceed, Michelle.
Right. Tone is key to man. Man fails to communicate properly when confronted by a high-pitched tone. Okay. The whole atmosphere becomes aggressive to him. Sorry. Talking to a man, the tone is more important than the words. Man would be glad to engage. Remember, talk to a man like he is first in position, and talk to a woman like she is first in priority.
Luvuvamu.
Yalla.
Talk to a man like he is first in position. Talk to a woman like she is first in priority. It can't get any better than that. Now, tone is key. Tone is key. And I know if you want to use tone in any conversation, remember what we were talking about, the heart rate. The heart rate. The man wants to leave. As soon as the tone is high pitched, he wants to leave. If you came by the shoulder, by the side, and you were talking to him, you would not raise your tone. You will not raise your tone because you are talking to a partner, an ally. So you sit next to them. But if you're coming in the frontal position where you're pointing fingers and you're actually talking to him, he wants to leave. So tone is actually in that aspect. So therefore, you have to remember, when you're talking to a man, talk to him like he is first in position. And in that aspect, you will receive yours as first in priority as the queen. Proceed.
Okay, man does not like male energy in his space.
Allah.
Yala.
Yalla.
Yalla.
Okay, now, I know Mama Shelley's laughing. Now, a man will not stick around if there's a male energy in his presence. And that you will have to attribute back to the animal kingdom. Lion takes care of the pride. Another male lion comes out. There's a fight. Now, you have certain ladies who have to exhibit these characteristics of being independent, being manly. And I have my own house, I have my own car, I have everything. Now I want to bring in a man into the house. So when a man walks into the house and looks at that and he sees that you are actually playing his role, he will run. Because he sees you as another male energy. And for that reason, that is a conflict of interest on his part. A man will run because you are showing male tendencies that you should have. Normally, women that are in that kind of situation tend to have a feminine man, a man that is now the opposite of them, to make it a balance. A woman has more male energy and a man has feminine energy. And that's how it works in that aspect, because those energies do not intertwine. The male energy in that place just makes it very volatile. Brother Mtawi, if you can scroll up. Please proceed, Michelle.
Okay. When one complains to a man that he is not doing right, he chooses to move to run away from that area. When one complains to a woman that she is not doing right, she works to improve that area.
Lovuvamo.
Yalla.
Yalla.
You have it.
Yalla.
If you tell a man, hey, you have problems and issues in it, he tends to move away from it. But when you tell a woman, hey, you are having this problem, she seriously considers improving that and working on it. That's the difference, the way they are wired. Mm-hmm. Women are there to work on the situation and improve it. A man sees it as, oh, I don't need it anymore, because that's the way it is perceived. He's not going to work to improve it. He is going to run. That's what he is known. He's tied everything to freedom. Please proceed, Michelle.
Be patient, as men generally mature slower than women. Slow to think. It takes about 5 years for a man to mature.
Wow.
Yalla.
The only thing that Nzambi told women was that you will struggle. You will struggle with a man after you find out that he is not all that. That's the only thing Tata Nzambi told you. So what you find out eventually is that a man is slower in thinking, and a man takes that long to mature on a situation. You can tell a man and say, please do not invest money in that because I don't think that's a good investment. And he will say, I'm going through with it. And then that investment turns into a bad investment. He comes back 3 years later You were right. That's how they mature. They mature slowly, and women are fast thinkers. Fast thinkers. And that is a common thread. It is nothing, it's something which is biologically tested and tried, that men are just slow in certain attributes to women. That is the way Nzambi intended it to be. Please go up. Can we get another reader? Thank you, Sister Michelle. Can we get another reader, please?
Respect. I'll read, Elder. Respect. There are not too much books on respect. Respect is difficult to explain in words to some women and someone. Women need love, and they understand the need for unconditional love, the kuswakong love. But once you turn that into respect, they don't get that, as some believe that I should only respect you when you are worthy of respect. The respect that is exhibited on the continent and the Northern Hemisphere differ in comparisons. Most is cultural. A certain gesture can mean respect to self and yet be different to another.
Luvuvamu.
Yalla.
Okay. And I'm not asking for women here to leave here and be all loving and everything, but I need you to understand a man and be very well equipped with it. The number one thing that only men ask for is respect. There are no books on respect. There's a lot of books on love, how to treat a man, how to be with a man, 100 ways to love a man. But there's never been a book on respect. Here's your struggle, the struggle that Tata Nzambi put into place, that women will find it hard to interpret the word respect. Reason being is you're wired in a different way, that you understand unconditional love. But to turn unconditional love into respect becomes so much of a battle, because the battle becomes, if I have to respect a man, he has to be one that is worthy of respect. Well, that's not the respect that they're asking for. So that will differ in comparison based on the hemispheres. Now let me go to the continent, the sort of respect that is there. Way back in the day, when I was growing up, I was in the village, and there was a time when we were coming from the gardens, and my grandfather and I are walking in a footpath, and we're carrying the hose that we use in the garden, and then a bunch of ladies were coming. It's a footpath. It's one narrow footpath. And the ladies were coming from the opposite direction. What they did was the ladies moved out of the way and allowed us to pass. And I was asking my grandfather, I was like, what was that? He said, well, it's a form of respect. I said, well, I don't feel right about that, because we are the ones who are supposed to be doing that. I couldn't understand it at the time. There are many aspects, like in the Bantu tradition, where when a man is receiving food from a woman, she gives a small kind of kneeling gesture to give to her husband. It is perceived as a form of respect. Now let's come to the Western Hemisphere. A certain gesture, if you were on the table with a loved one or your husband, your friend, or whoever, If a woman takes, after you finish eating, a woman takes the dishes, or should I say, a man takes the dishes and picks them up after the meal, a woman will see that as very romantic. Flip that, and a man will see that as respect. So a great majority of relationship, whenever you look up the attributing factor, a man always comes up and said, she doesn't respect me anymore. She just doesn't, I don't receive respect from her. And what the majority that you will get from on the side of a woman will be, he doesn't love me anymore. I don't feel the love that's coming from him. It's the same line. Men thrive on respect. And a lot of people have a hard time understanding how that respect is. It is not about you have to gain my respect after you're worthy. That's not the respect. So please proceed.
The only thing that Nzambi told women to do is respect men. Ephesians 5:33. And it reads, "Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband." And Nzambi never bothered to ask women to love men by virtue of them being naturers. The only reason that women will struggle with respect is because after they find out that a man really isn't all that, he is a slow thinker, not as versatile, not sensitive, not caring, which will drive the woman to assume that they are better than the man, hence will disrespect him. Don't do it. The biggest task will be to respect him with all his weakness.
Lovuvamo.
Yalla.
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 Family, the only thing that Nzambi told women is to respect men. And once you find out that this man is really just a slow thinker, not sensitive, not caring at all, why should I respect him? But Nzambi told you, do not respect him, disrespect him because of that. Don't do it. That's the biggest mistake that you will make. He was put there for a reason. But do not disrespect him because of that. By virtue of women being naturers, your role was given in that aspect of maintaining that emotional aspect. So therefore, they ask and say, Elder Patrick, tell us, how should I respect a man? Please proceed.
For men, respect is the way you talk to him, revere him, look at him. It's like a position you put him in your heart that makes him very secure. Men don't feel secure when you give them love, but they feel secure when you give them respect. Yalla.
Allah.
The way you carry him in your heart is the way that you perceive him. When you are looking at him, is the way you respect him. If you carry him in a special way, then you will respect him. And how should you respect a man? Please proceed.
Respect him the way you respect your pastor or preacher. Respect him the way you respect your boss. Respect him the way you respect your father. You probably don't agree with all these persons, but regardless, you always find a middle ground to still communicate and honor their respective positions. Yalla.
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 Respect him the way you respect your pastor. Respect him the way you respect your boss. the boss can be a pain. Your boss can be a pain, but you will still honorably respect your boss. But yet the boss inside the house is the one you are disrespecting. Give him the respect that you would to your father. Your father might be a good man. Your father might not be a good man, but by virtue of him being your father, you will still respect him. That's the respect that they're asking for. The way you carry him in your heart and how you talk to him, that is the respect. Now there's a triangle, and I was not able to put it on there. Men thrive on respect. You disrespect him one time, and you feel that the next day you have overcome that issue. You have lost him, and he will give you a version that will, I don't know how to describe this. He will give you a version of himself under the disrespect. And that version goes like this. He'll be short to answer. He'll be quiet and will always be not very talkative, because that respect was lost. Because when you ask him a certain thing, he gives you one word answer. He will be distant, correct. He will be distant, but will still be present in your presence, because that respect was gone. You probably will not agree with him. On many times, you will not agree with him, but don't at any one time lose respect. It is the biggest issue for men whenever they go into therapy or anywhere you may talk to him and say, what was the reason that you had to leave? He said, because she just didn't respect me anymore. They just talk respect. And the reason why Zombie gave it to you was that respect is something which is really given to them by Zombie. And they thrive on that respect.
Yalla.
All right,
Yalla.
let's proceed.
Yalla.
Let's proceed. Let's proceed.
Yalla.
If you can scroll up. All right. Can we have a new reader?
I'll read.
Thank you.
Marriage. Abigail learned something by being married to faithful.
Okay.
Abigail
If you can hold on right there, Naibu, Brother Naibu, thank you so much. If you're not familiar very much with this Bible verse, you may want to understand that Abigail was married before he met David. Please proceed, Brother Naibu. You're sounding faint, Brother Naibu.
It's still really muffled, Brother Naibu.
might just have it. Can you hear me now?
You can get that.
Again?
Abigail called David in Zan 10 times in one conversation. Appealed to David's logic and not in his emotions. Abigail said to David, "You are going to be a king, and if you kill these people, you are going to have blood on your hands." Abigail spoke with David's logic. She spoke about him. Whenever you're addressing men.
Hold on just a second right there. Thank you very much, Brother Naibu. Okay. Now, Abigail was, I call her the unforgettable woman. She was a married woman. And David was about to slaughter her family. David was about to slaughter her family. And Abigail, instead of saying, "Oh, David, if you kill my family, I'll be a widow, I will do this and I'll do this. Whenever you talk to a man, do not talk to him how it benefits you. Men are selfish in nature. Please proceed, Brother Naib.
We cannot hear you. Sorry.
Whenever you are advising a man, don't tell them how it benefits self. Men are selfish in nature. Even Zambi, you'll never see Zambi talk to a man about how marriage will benefit their wives. Rather than Zambi tell men how men will receive favor from Zambi upon them finding a wife. And if you don't treat your wife right, your prayer will be hindered. Proverbs 18:22.
Okay, let's go back to the verses real quick so I can elaborate on those. If we can pull those verses one more time. Now, when you advise a man, do not advise him how it benefits you. You appeal to his logic. Abigail didn't appeal to say, I will be a widower. She went ahead and actually appealed to this logic. David, you're going to be king. If you do this, you will have blood on your hands. And a man listened to it. Nzambi told us, men, the same thing. He didn't tell us, if you marry, you will have, your marriage will benefit your wife. He said you will receive favor. You will receive favor. Somebody pull that up. Excuse me, just a second.
In this same way, husbands are to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself.
Move.
Yalla.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you see, and that verse really tells you, would a man harm himself? Would a man harm his body? Anybody?
No, sir.
No.
So he's saying, treat her like she's your body. It will benefit, and if you do that, your prayers will not be hindered. So he's doing that because it benefits him. Because it benefits him. That's the logic. Not because you are going to be happy, but because it benefits him, that his prayers will not be hindered. Next reading. Proverbs 18:22.
Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a what is good and receives favor from Tatanzambi.
Luvuva move, family.
Allah. Yeah.
Men are selfish in nature. We don't know how long he was on this land by himself. And he became self-reliant in his own aspects. By the time Eve came along, he has already well established in his own standards. And those are the standards that he kept. So for you to actually take on a man and tell him, oh, if you do this, we will be happy. He's not thinking that way. He's not wired like that. He's wired in his own aspect. How will it benefit me? Even Tatanzambi knows that. And that's why he gives him, said, if you don't do this, you will not receive favor from me. So he does it. And then he said, if you treat your wife like your own body, you don't beat your own body, your prayers will not be hindered. Oh, he does that. because to the logic. So the same way Abigail did the same thing. She did not appeal to David to self by saying, oh my, if you kill everybody here, I'll be a widower. And she said, you'll be king. You're going to be king. You're going to have blood on your body. A man stops to think like, oh, I'll have blood on my hands. No. So the logic is what appeals to the man, not what you tell him directly. To say, oh no, look, we need to do this because it'll benefit me, and then we can have this and this. No, you have to appeal to his logic whenever you talk to a man in that aspect. Okay, proceed, Brother Naib.
Dowry is not Bantu traditions. In conclusion, therefore.
No, Luvuva Mu.
Yalla.
Yalla.
There's somebody
Yalla.
here who knows what dowry is. Please explain to us. Somebody here knows what dowry is in a short.
Is it a sum? Is it a sum?
Mm-hmm. It is a sum, which is used for what?
The woman that he chooses?
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct, Mama Matizola. Dowry is an amount of money in Bantu tradition which is paid for a spouse. And you hear these on the continent where somebody was, well, let me explain. In Bantu traditions, you have asked, you found a daughter, a family from a certain family, and you want to marry her. You have to send some people to ask for that, for their daughter in marriage, and the family will tell you, say, we need 8 cows, and so on and so on and so on. So that money now, in nowadays, it's exorbitant. It's actually 15 cows, and it depends on the girl. If she was well educated, that means they'll charge more. And that's been the tradition that's been ongoing. It's all over Africa. So therefore, in the continent, we always say there are 2 marriages. There's a traditional aspect, and then there's the Western aspect, which is the white wedding. So they had, first you have to accomplish the traditional aspect, and then you do the Western attributes to that. Now, I'm here to tell you that tradition is wrong. It has been a bastardized tradition, which is emanating from colonial misconception. The reason is how it came about was many men during the 1900s and even beyond, after they saw that they wanted a woman to get married to, they would go and ask the colonial master who owned these women. And the colonial master would charge a certain amount of money. And that's how they ended up adopting this tradition to this present day. And that is the dowry that is used to this present day, not because it is a tradition. It was a tradition which was inherited because of the colonial aspects. Now, because of that, it has undermined our people on many levels, because we are forced to do these situations by putting a price on our daughters before they can be married off. It has decimated a great number of traditions, and it is wrong in all aspects. Traditionally, if I go beyond that point, was because if a daughter was being given off the mother was the one that was always saying, please take care of my child. If my child is not worthy, you can return her. And there was something which was given for the mother, for the help that she has done in upbringing that daughter. Our traditions have gone off the rock. And right now, if you look it up, you will see that this tradition has really gone way too far. And I think at a certain aspect, that tradition is not there. But I also want to touch on the Western aspect of marriage. Whenever an institution like marriage has faced so many problems, it is because it was never deeply rooted in our cultures. You have a marriage here, which is sanctioned by governments, and therefore made it a government-instituted marriage. And that's why you are seeing now the falling apart of marriage. The reason being is that the institution was never in any aspect deeply rooted in the aspects of tradition. And now you are seeing people doing marriage with a dog, marriage with horses, man-to-man marriage, woman-to-woman marriage. The meaning of marriage loses its merit. A marriage certificate was only started being issued way back in the 1900s. Beyond that point, there was no marriage certificate. And right now, it is a money-making venture to undertake that. We need to go back to the traditions and look at the traditions of how true marriage can last in this evolving world. I am not specifically suggesting that we go back all the way, but we inherit some of the attributes that maintained young couples together in that aspect. But my point here is dowry was never a Bantu tradition in the aspect of marriage. Brother Naibu?
In conclusion, therefore, our understanding of a man as created by Nzambi helps us navigate this present world, where man is being refined to likeness of Hollywood, where standards are set. Let us all reflect back to what the Creator defined us to be and incorporate those principles. Inget.
Luvuva
Yalla.
Yalla.
Now, I always ask the question, is there a standard for beauty?
No, sir.
If there's ever a standard for beauty, who sets the standard?
Nzambiampungu.
So why then do we set our standards as redefined by Hollywood? What is Hollywood? Because everything we do is the standard of Hollywood. Now, as awakened people of Isolele, you have to reconnect yourselves back to the standards that he put forth. You're talking of preparatory self for ascension. And if you are setting your standards according to Hollywood, you are bound to fail. The standards that are set by Nzambiampungu. Please refrain from these televisions that tell you a vision that you should set on. The visions that you have, the Mwanda Velela will download into your heart, and you will start living a life that you are supposed to live. Therefore, you will not recognize that there are standards for beauty, there are standards for marriage as depicted by Hollywood, but by Nzambiampungu. Here ends the reflection today, and I hope truly that you will reflect on this and everyone in Geta.
Ingeta.
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 Matondo, Elder Patrick.
Ondo
That's
Masaka.
a wonderful session.
Banzajulu mwazela bange kota tujisole tuzelese otishima bange tuzelese omishima bange tuzelese omishima alajano wayo lungu ya Jesu ya nzumbi mundu kitena kujimona mundu kitena kuimona mundu kitena kuimona bange ngongo ya tema tusoma baba banzumbi kulengele mumatuta bange kulengele mumatuta bange kulengele